Thank you very much. It's nice to meet all you guys. I'm Ivan Vershi from South Australia. I'm Sherry Harvey's partner. We run an organisation called HATS. We've been going for 15 years. We've got 5 major awards for doing that, totally by volunteers, no funding. What do you guys feel the relation is to the rural venues that are trying to put artists on stage? Can there be a relationship with the festivals? We can promote festivals and diversifies. Can you guys see a relationship there?
That's a really great question, and it goes to things that we've certainly been thinking about as an organisation. And I say that because it goes not just to how we can create an environment that is better for those regional areas in terms of having their lifeblood and going, but it's also something that's really important for organisations putting on these once-a-year events, because when we talk about financial sustainability, that's actually not a completely sane business model going forward, to be entirely dependent, particularly for those of us who do have staffs that we need to be able to maintain and pay. So we're looking at, we haven't got there yet, some of the options we may have to create an ongoing business through the year. That includes looking at partnerships with regional areas and what we can do. I don't want to replicate what Woodford very successfully does with their small halls program, but I think that's an excellent, sort of starting point, and the sort of thing where, whether it's something like that or something else, yes, we would like to get
we do
closer to
35 to 40 concerts a year. Yeah. It's sort of like a small festival spread out.
Yeah.
I just want to say congratulations to you two doing 35 to 40 concerts a year. We partner in our little town with the people who put on music year round, which is primarily the wine bar leaders, the pub, the Farmers Arms, and pretty much the folk club. And we invite them all to be part of the festival, and we support them during the year. We run monthly concerts around the town with those people.
Malden being November, end of October, we're not in the big circuit of bringing the internationals out, but we work with people like Kangaroo Valley, Fluorio, Dorigo to make a circuit for performers, and having the small rural places can actually also add to where they can go, so that they're actually being able to afford to tour. Even our Australian artists, if they can actually do a tour around festivals, it makes it more viable rather than nicking down to central Victoria and we're an hour and a half from the airport, and we don't provide transport. So even coming from interstate, you still have to hire a car to get up there or drive. So doing a circuit does make a difference for them.
I'm Bridget Warner. I'm the Secretary of the Folk Federation of New South Wales. Got it around the right way, Pam. I'm very pleased to hear that you're doing feedback on the national, and I imagine many other people do that in the interests of continuous improvement. But I did notice that your 12 o'clock session on Monday is not in the app, because I was about to bookmark it and go, and it's not there. So perhaps you could get that updated.
We've got some integration issues and a number of things like that forum aren't translating properly. We're taking it on board for next year, but there's a limit to
There's a limit to what we can make happen in the next 2 days. But yeah, thanks for the reminder of those issues.
All that fabulous information. My name is Winsome Hall, and I'm part of a new and emerging folk festival, which is the Bundanoon Folk Festival. Put it in your diaries for the end of November 2023. And boy, is that coming up fast.
where is it?
Bundanoon in the Southern Highlands, so equidistant between New South Wales. Yes, sorry, darling, not Western Australia, not Queensland. There is a Bundanoon in Western Australia we're aware of. So the issues I wanted to talk about are connections with other festivals. Just because we've known some people in Cobargo, we've had really sustaining and helpful sharing relationships with them. just getting hold of things like, and also I should say our convener is also the convener of St Albans. So just being able to get hold of things like the risk management plan, the business event plan, just having something to work from makes such a difference. It's also really useful when various festivals have things up in their websites that we can start off with as a resource to then add to build it up as for what we need. So yes, those connections are really, really fabulous. One of the other things that is really vital, I think, is the connections with community, and we're certainly working to build up with our community about how we engage with them and get different parts of them working. So we're doing that relatively successfully at the moment, but I just tell you, the first time you're just building everything up right at the beginning, and I know what everyone else has been through now. You always feel as though you're running to do the next thing that you have to do. I think the questions I've mostly got is, great ideas for engaging with community, and I love the idea of the opera singing in the supermarket. It really is that thing of how you build up your audience. Oh yes, that was the other thing I wanted to say. Building a sustainable business model. We're going to be a small festival. We're only going to have 500 in the first instance. We're working with our indoor venues initially. And we've realised that in order to build ourselves out, we actually have to have things happening through the year. And that's twofold objectives. The first one is building out our audience to understand just how diverse and fantastic the folk genre is, and that it's easier to describe it by what it's not than what it is. So we're working with venues within our area, particularly the Bundanoon Club, which is a community-based club, to provide venues throughout the year, a venue throughout the year for our folk artists. Thank you. And be able to work from there. So my question is, building up community engagement. I'm really interested in how people might answer that question.
Malden's probably a really special case because it's an historic classified town. It's classified by the National Trust, and it's a very much tourism type thing. But when I took over Malden, there'd been a disconnect between the festival and the town, because the festival had ended up being at Mount Tarrangarra and no one would come. Everyone would just stay up there and no one was coming into town. I suppose I'm lucky because I'm a volunteer firefighter, so everyone in town already knew me. And the town was like only 1,500 people anyway. So they'd seen me walking around in yellow gear and smoke all over my face. But I actually went and spoke to every business in town, all the community groups. We do all know each other, it helps, but I actually personally went and spoke to everybody. The churches, fire brigade, clearly, footy club, even the Athenaeum Library has a book sale, and the primary school did have a market, but they can't actually get volunteers. Another problem. It was actually my personal connection with everybody in town, which meant that everyone is on board, because I can just go, oh, we're doing this time. Oh yeah, no worries, including the local police. So part of the Shire's thing is you notified the local police, and I go and bump into him saying, look, the poster's up. He went, oh good, I loved Greg Champion, I'll have to come. So we don't, and with the Shire really on board with events, and our local state member and our federal member, we've got a whole lot of infrastructure, so anyone wanting to start a new event has actually got all of the stuff. It's just a tick box exercise. So even the compliance is...
I can speak a bit about local community support and how vital it is. First 20 years the Illawarra Folk Festival was held at Jennibaroo, an idyllic location, fantastic place to be. The community hated us. We'd come in once a year and take over their oval for 3 days, and we just could not break that community spirit. It was led by about 5 major people. We knew who they were, but we could not get around it. 2006 we moved to Illawarra and we were embraced by the local community. We hold probably 20 concerts, major concerts a year through the Folk Club. Each one promotes the Folk Festival. We hold a mini festival at Kiama where once again we're embraced by the community. They love us. And it's so important to get that community support because we have 250 volunteers, most of whom come from the community. And yeah, it's a major hurdle you have to overcome.
I want to quickly tell you one story from our town where we have a beautiful Masonic lodge, and the Masons, like Masons all around the world, were fairly secretive and reluctant to have it used by us or anyone really. And we persuaded them, or kind of got round them, to be able to use the bottom part last year where they have a kitchen and so on, just for an artist's hub. And they were very upset because some kids had broken in and put GIF all over a very important painting, historic painting of a historic important white man called Sir Andrew Peacock. Yes, a relation. And the painting was important to them and it was desecrated, so we were able to put them in touch with a painting restorer from Dalesford who came in and quoted, and then we were able, because we were lucky enough to make a surplus last year, to give them some money towards the restoration of the painting, which they did, and their whole attitude to us completely turned around, and they're now very keen to partner with us and for us to use their beautiful building.
Winsome, we've got an idea, something we do that probably could work really well in Bundanoon as well.
That's right. Every Friday before our festival, we have a free concert at the local primary school, which is great. We just pick 3 of our artists who are there early, and that has been fantastic. We also invite the school choir to perform on Saturday morning in the main venue for half an hour, and they love doing that. A few of the other things we do in the local community is we have a thing called Sing for Your Supper, where performers can approach cafes and perform in the cafes for a meal. That works well. Over the festival weekend, yes. Yeah. But as Sally said earlier, we did have a pretty rough time at the start because, I mean, we live in Nowra, we don't live in Kangaroo Valley. Even the people who started it don't live in Kangaroo Valley. They just thought that'd be a great place to have a festival. And so Kangaroo Valley already had a very highbrow arts festival. So we were referred to as the ferals for quite a few years, you know, forcing ourselves on their town. But now everyone's on board. We have a lot of locals on our committee, and it's all sweetness and light, really.
It's interesting. I can just add a tiny little addition to that. I was involved in a festival that went for something like 20 years in a regional town in Victoria, and it's quite a successful tourist town, but for the people who are actually running the businesses, it's quite hard to make a good living, and the turnover of business owners is really high, and we spent lots of time trying to make friends with the owners of the businesses and engage them with the business of the festival, and you'd come back the next year and the people you'd made friends with had gone, and we never felt like we had a great relationship with the people who were living in that town because they were moving on so quickly. So in a way you've got